It's about to be a wild fucking night. This is the calm before the storm. Get ready for the shenanigans.
This is Aneka Townsend, also known by her Instagram name Slickianna or her nickname Kayan. She was so beautiful and so full of life until she was found floating in the water in St James Jamaica. A post-mortem would later on confirm that someone had strangled the beautiful social media influencer. Let's get into the details of this case, but before that, kindly subscribe to my channel. And by the way, my name is Annie, and I just want to say thank you very much for your support thus far. So, Anika Townsend was a 35-year-old popular social media influencer from Jamaica. Anika, while growing up, had attended St James High School, and she was a cheerleader at her high school. Even then, she was well-liked and humble. People who knew her said that she was selfless, supportive, very energetic, and a thoughtful human being. Anika, as an adult, lived in Waterloo Road in Kingston, Jamaica. She had a pretty much good following on social media. She was very beautiful and, as you can tell, very outgoing and very bubbly. Brands liked her a lot and they worked with her a lot. So her Instagram was full of brand endorsement and lifestyle pictures and videos. I mean, from Heavendale Haircare to Jacana Live and Brit's Nails, she had good ambassadorial endorsement deals. Anika wasn't just an influencer, she was also a very successful entrepreneur. She had an online clothing boutique called Slick Pieces. I think she also owned Slickianna 876, which was doing quite well at the time. Life was good and on the up and up for her. She had more than 300,000 followers on Instagram alone. And all she ever wanted was to make money and be successful and take care of her son, who was, I think, 12 years old. Anika loved living it up and traveling the world. The first time I even heard of her was right here in my country, Nigeria, when she came to visit. I remember thinking how beautiful she was. She was so classy and a very focused social media personality. Anika always documented her travels on her socials a lot, so a lot of people get to see what she's up to at a particular time. And that comes with a lot of judgment and jealousy and envy, even from people who claim to, like her, people who claim to be her friends and her supporters and her fans. Anika wasn't foolish. She knew this, but she didn't care. She only cared about being the best of herself for her and her son. On October the 18th, Anika Townsend posted on her TikTok. In this particular upload, she was showing off her home that she had purchased. Something good had happened in her life and she was really happy about sharing it with her followers. And this would seem to be her very last post, not just as a social media influencer, but as a human being. Fast forward to about 3:30 on October the 21st, just 3 days after that post was made, beachgoers at St James Jamaica found the decomposing body of a woman floating in the water. The body was face down when it was found, but it didn't take long for the body to be identified as Anika Townsend. I mean, she was well known in the area. She had only just one pair of shoes on her when she was found, and this shoe matched the ones that she had posted on her Instagram not too long ago. Plus, a tattoo she had on one of her legs made it quite easy for the initial identification. So, initially, no one understood or knew exactly what had happened to Anika or how she got where her body was found. When she was found, her body wasn't looking good. Not that it's expected that a deceased person should be looking good anyways, but what I'm trying to say is that she had a lot of wounds on her body. She had wounds on her neck and she was partially clothed. Reports at the time said that she had a gaping hole at the back of her head that looked like she had been shot. It's really hard to imagine the ever beautiful Anika in such a way, and her family immediately wanted answers. When Anika was found, rumors began to swirl that she might have been set up by some jealous females that she had beef with on social media. Yes, Anika wasn't exactly liked by everyone, but did a social media beef spill into real life? We will find out. Following the discovery, authorities got the Marine Division of Jamaica Constabulary Force to get the body out of the water, which they did, alongside other items like a wig and a piece of clothing which was soaked in red body fluids. Then they were taken for testing. Anika's mother had to come in to identify her. You can imagine how painful it is to see your child in such a state. A post-mortem would later confirm that Anika had been shot. This was a very personal way to take out someone, so investigations commenced immediately. The police believe Anika's life was taken sometime between the hours of 11 p.m. on October the 20th and 9 a.m. on October the 21st. So this had happened not too long ago before she was found. They put a lot of legwork into the investigations, and it didn't take long before authorities found out Anika's last movements. Eyewitnesses came forward to say that she was last seen with a young man called Rushane Patterson, who was also known as Cheesy. Patterson was a 33-year-old man whom Anika knew, and quickly the police named him as a person of interest, and here's why. So Anika had been seen with this young man Patterson at a well-known restaurant in Hanover just before she was found deceased, but yet when news broke that she was gone, he was nowhere to be found. People said that Anika's last moments was when she was seen traveling on a bus on the 20th from Kingston to Montego Bay to meet with an unknown person. So could this person be Rushane Patterson? Considering that they were seen together at the restaurant, I think he was the person. So more and more information began to come up, and Rushane Patterson's name kept coming up and Anika had posted on her social that she was at this particular event, and an eyewitness also placed her at that event and said that they saw her with Rushane Patterson and another unknown male inside a vehicle going to this party. So, like I said earlier, at this point it was being speculated that her social media beef spilled into real life, and Rushane Patterson was the bait that was used to lure her out so that she could be harmed. With so much accusing fingers pointing at Patterson, people were now expecting the police to bring it in for questioning at least. But no one knew where he was. He was just nowhere to be found. If he wasn't guilty, why then was he running? So Jamaican police, I think on the 22nd or the 23rd of October, publicly declared him a person of interest and demanded that he turns himself in at the Montego Bay police station in St James Parish. They gave him up until 5 p.m. that night to show up, but no, he just didn't show up. So the police began to actively look for him. Why was he hiding if he didn't have anything to do with Anika or have a hand in what happened to her? Several raids were carried out and properties were seized. It's not exactly clear how these were connected with the case, but the police were up to something. As for Rushane Patterson, it was speculated that he might have flown out of Jamaica to the US. Rumors at the time said that he had gone to Atlanta, but no one knew for sure if he had really fled the country. The police did say that they didn't actually have any evidence that he was out of the country at the time. They actually believed that he was still in Jamaica, but he was in hiding. So the Jamaica Constabulary Force had a press release.
The police are asking anyone who believe that they have information that can assist in this investigation to call police emergency at 119, the JCF tip line at 811, or Crime Stop at 311.
Now, we've been talking about this guy, Rushane Patterson, for a bit. Now, let's dive into his life a little bit so that you can understand exactly why, apart from being the last person that has seen Anika, he could have also been capable of harming her. So, Patterson actually comes from a wealthy family that is well connected, and they had, in the past, actually used their connections to get him out of trouble and just basically let him get away with bad behavior and criminal acts. It was said that shortly before Anika's incident, Patterson had spent some time hiding out on another island, courtesy of his family of course, for a crime that he had committed against another female. It wasn't clear the exact circumstances surrounding this other crime, but it pretty much looks like a pattern, right? We have a man that likes to harm females, so he's pretty much a person of interest. In 2013, Patterson was investigated for assaulting a young woman, but the case was later thrown out because the only witness that they had just disappeared into thin air. The story was that in St Andrews, a couple was attacked while taking a walk in the evening, and they were pushed into a vehicle by some men. The man's life was taken though, but the woman was transferred and transported to a place where she was assaulted and then struck multiple times with a sharp utensil. They thought that she was in fact deceased, so they left her there because she had passed out. They thought that she was already gone, that she had passed away, so they left her there. But miraculously she survived and she went to the police, and Rushane Patterson's name came up in that crime. The lady actually pointed him out in a police lineup. But like I said, the case didn't go to trial because there was no witness. The witness just disappeared. It's not clear if the police ever found out what happened to the witness. Again, it is said that just 5 months prior to Anika's case, Rushane Patterson was in police custody for evading them for the past crime. It's not exactly clear why they let him go, but here he was again at the center of another one. In 2018, Patterson had also asked an ex-girlfriend of his to meet up with him a day after Christmas, that's Boxing Day. She obliged, but soon as she got into the vehicle with Patterson, do you know what he did? He flipped. He pulls out a picture of the guy she was dating at that time and demanded to know if they were intimate and how many times they were intimate. He drove this girl away while stopping to assault her inside the vehicle at different locations because, according to him, she was a rat who was snitching to the police. He tried to extort money from her by demanding that she goes to the ATM and withdraws money from her account, but when she would not budge, he said that he would snap the life out of her and dispose of her in such a way that no one will ever find her. Well, ultimately, he did let her go after she must have promised not to report the incident to the authorities, but soon as she was let go, she went straight to the police. So you see the type of person that this guy was. He was capable of anything, and he knew he had the backing of his family. No matter what he did, his family connections would free him. In the meantime, Anika's loved ones came together to hold a candlelight vigil for her in Kingston. A lot of people turned up for her, but at the same time, there were the trolls that said that Anika deserved what she got. How can someone, a human being, even say that? Yeah, she was a single woman and a social media influencer that had been stereotyped, but no one deserves bad things happening to them. No one. Now back to Rushane Patterson.
Rushane Patterson, the person of interest in the murder of social media influencer Anika Slickianna Townsend, is now in police custody. The woman's body was removed from the sea in St James on October 21.
It was said that he was captured in Hanover on the 2nd of November. He was actually hiding out in Jamaica at a guest house called the Palm Tree Guest House in Green Island, and the arrest was based on what had happened to the ex-girlfriend back in 2018, not the Aneka Townsend case. I think that the police needed to get him on an unrelated charge, then they can find more evidence and then hold him on Aneka's case. On the 11th of November, a senior superintendent of police, Vernon Ellis, made the announcement that Rushane Patterson had been officially charged with Anika's, and he gave more insight to what we already knew.
The St James Police have charged 33 years old Rushane Patterson, otherwise called Chizzy, who is of a Harvey River, Hanover address, with the murder of 35-year-old social media influencer Anika Townsend, otherwise called Kean or Slickianna. Miss Townsend's body was retrieved by the Marine Police in the waters in the Reading area of the parish of St James on the morning of Friday, October 21st, 2022. A post-mortem examination that was conducted on her body on November 5th concluded that her death was caused by strangulation. The post-mortem estimates that Ms. Townsend was killed at some time between the hours of 11 p.m. Thursday, October 20th and 9 a.m. October 21st. During the course of this investigation, a wealth of forensic, cyber forensic, and other technical evidence was collected. Following consultation with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the JCF Legal Services Division, Patterson was formally charged with murder this afternoon. The facts are that on Thursday, October 20th, Ms. Townsend traveled from Kingston to Montego Bay, where she was picked up by Patterson at approximately 7:30 p.m. During the course of the evening, they visited a restaurant in Hanover and a guest house in St. James. At some point in the night, an argument developed between them, which resulted in Ms. Townsend being strangled by Patterson and her body disposed. Additionally, a 47-year-old security guard, Mr. Rowan Rose, otherwise called Early B, has been charged with misprision of felony in relation to this same matter. Investigations are ongoing as it is suspected that Mr. Patterson may have been involved in other incidents similar to those for which he has been charged. As a result, detectives are appealing to the public for any information that may assist.
So basically, at some point during the night while visiting on Rushane's request, an argument developed between Anika and him, which resulted in Rushane Patterson putting his hands around her neck and squeezing the life out of her. Then he proceeded to disposing of her body at the sea. As of today, we're still watching and waiting on what will become of this case. Hopefully, Rushane Patterson's family does not get him out of this one. According to the press conference, as we heard, a security guard known as Rushane Rose saw and knew what Rushane had done to Anika, but he chose not to report it, so he too had been charged. Let's see what punishment he gets for this particular act. On the 1st of December, Anika Townsend, Slickianna, was buried in a beautiful ceremony after a memorial service at Webster Memorial Church in St Andrews, closing this chapter of her life here on earth. Her mother Joy Smith, during the ceremony, they said that she didn't want pictures of her daughter laying in state, so we are not going to put any pictures of her burial ceremony. And that's pretty much it for Slickianna's case. Let's hope that she gets the justice that she so much deserves. It's also my prayers that her family gets comfort for the sorrows that they've been through. Now subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.